Ready? All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the early adopter session with Trafikverket ICT. My name is Carmen Summers, and I'm program manager from the System Center team. I'm here speaking today with Pontus Blomqvist and Christer Amlof, which I don't pronounce their names correctly, but one thing you'll notice is that Christer is very tall, and I am very short. And to make it even more noticeable, I'm wearing heels. So you can imagine what this looks like. Well, these gentlemen are System Center early adopters. We're proud to have them here, and they both come with a wealth of experience in the IT industry. And today they're going to be giving you an overview of their System Center implementation. Basically, who is Trafikverket ICT, what kind of services they provide, why they chose System Center, what does the solution look like, how do they make all the System Center components come together in a solution. We're really proud of the work they've done, and so we thought it would be a valuable session to have you guys come and see and let you see that this is, based upon all the things that you've seen this week. This is real. We have real customers running real systems, solving real problems with System Center 2012. This has been a week of celebration, and it's been a fun week. Have you guys enjoyed your week? Has it been a good week? Yeah? I'll give you a little tad bit of a fact. There are supposed to be 118 people in this room. So what we're going to do is implement Virtual Machine Manager and clone every one of you to make it happen, because I think the party at the Paris last night was too good, and everybody is still sleeping it off. So thank you so much for sticking it out and coming to see this valuable implementation of System Center. Without further ado, I want to give you a bit of a video on Trafikverket, and then I'm going to turn it over to Pontus and Christer, and they'll take it from here. Just so you know, if you have questions during the presentation, I think you guys are willing to take, it's such a small room, we can take questions. I'll be interjecting and asking some questions. I'm not going to stand up here on the stage because basically my part in this presentation will be over after this part. And so I'll be asking questions, some clarifying questions, and if there's any questions along the way that you guys have, feel free to ask. So here we go. Thank you.
Okay, that was a video with a short presentation of the services that we are hosting in our data centers, and it's rather spread services. It's from the telecom side with the connections and fiber optical hosting, and we're also running the speed cameras and things like that. So it's a rather broad spectrum. My name is Pontus Blomqvist, and I work as an enterprise architect responsible for the data center, and I work at the CTO office on technical strategies. ICT has customers from the private side and from the public side, and we deliver, maintain, and develop different services in this broad spectrum. We have these complex services as the speed cameras or the congestion tech systems, but we also deliver more simpler services as a server, a virtual server, and private clouds and things like that. We try to be on the edge with things, running the latest things on the latest technology, but at the same time be a stable and a reliable partner that can deliver things with quality to our customers. In our data center, we have today over a petabyte of data. We have 11,000 kilometers of optical cable. It's a fiber optical networks that covers most of Sweden. We have over 300 customers, and we have over 3,000 servers.
Hey, Pontus, what is your breakdown for 3,000 plus servers, virtual, physical?
We're about 2,000 virtual machines and around 1,000
I think we'll have to repeat the question because...
What is the breakdown of physical to virtual servers in your environment?
Yeah, we're about 2,000 virtual machines and around 1,000 physical servers. So we're in the transformation from the legacy infrastructure to the cloudified infrastructure where everything goes virtual. So we have started out, and most of the new services delivered are based on virtual machines, but we still have the legacy to transform into this new technology. When we started out, we started with management to get a good view of how our data center was built. We then shifted to virtualization, and now we're driving the cloudification of the technology. Today, we are working to drive our infrastructure onto this new platform that we will showcase today. We have established the foundation for this, and during this year, we will move the workloads onto this new platform. We have today software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service as the more cloud-specific services that we are delivering. Okay, what's behind the ICT cloud? What are the components that we have used to build our infrastructure? We have on the base storage from EMC. We have servers from Cisco on the UCS platform. And then we have the Windows Server and the Hyper-V as the hypervisor. And on top of that, we are using the System Center 2012 family to build this thing up. It's a challenge to be in a Microsoft Tab program, working with software not yet released, and have to work with vendors like EMC and Cisco and demand things from them on software not yet released. But we have had a very good cooperation with both of those companies during this last year. Okay, what's the challenges and why did we choose System Center? When we work in a data center, it's the hardware management that we need to take care of. We have the scalability issues that we need to be able to grow with our customers and shrink if we lose some customers. And if we need to be flexible to handling the resources. And on top of this, everybody needs self-service those days. So the challenge is to have a scalable platform taking care of the hardware and try to abstract the hardware from working with a storage team, a networking team, a server team, a virtualization team, to move this to a self-service platform that one person could be the operator for all of those platforms. So you don't have the team coordination being done. And that's a part of what we have solve with the system center integration. And that's things we will show you today.
And of course, we need to, we can't have staff to do all the stuff that the customer wants us to. So self-service is a very important part of the system on making it quick and easy and making it to give us the money, to save money for both the customer and ourselves. We have challenges within our company as well, because we have many applications that are not directly related to the IT part. Like we have business systems that take care of customers. You have the customer SLAs and all the agreements within those systems. And we need to integrate these systems with the IT business to be able to implement and maintain the right level of service. So we have agreement databases, service level agreements, and a computer asset management system where we document things that we cannot automatically get from the servers. And this system called ICT Base, which is the base system of a lot of the different modules within, and you will see later ICT Order, where you can order a virtual server. You also have the computer asset management system on top, where we can keep track of changes within the customer's environment. So, for instance, if a customer wants to change the SLA, it'll be done in the computer asset management system, reflecting from the other business systems, and then reflecting down on the servers. And for instance, giving us info to input into SCOM on whether to act or not on different alerts and when to do it. And of course, the integration goes further into moving into System Center. So we're integrating the ICT Base and ICT Order with the Service Manager to be able to use and utilize all the different things that we can do with the Service Manager and the other products in the System Center family. So we are going to give you a few examples from three of the systems that we use. It's Service Manager, Orchestrator, and the VMM. So I would like to emphasize a few points within each system that we are using and why we are using it. So Service Manager is the perfect tool to maintain, manage, and implement processes. And processes, they're kind of boring, but they are kind of necessary as well. So if we want to automate things, we have a flow where we have tasks that needs to be done within this automation, and we use Service Manager to build those tasks. And of course, the 2012 version now, we're very happy that Microsoft has made a deep integration with Orchestrator, so we can easily kick off Orchestrator runbooks based on the processes, based on the work list within each template. And also, the main part of System Center Service Manager that we use is for tracking and logging. So if you have a self-service portal where the user can go in and add more disk to a server without us knowing on when it happens, we will have to know when was it done, who did it, and then of course, we will be able, or we'll have to be able to send an invoice to the customer for the added storage. And of course, we are building using the Service Manager's self-service portal as the foundation of our portals within the company and to the customers. System Center Orchestrator is the glue that keeps everything together. It's so fun, because if you're working with Orchestrator, it's like a tapas table. You have your fingers everywhere, in every system. So we're handling the gap between the systems to deeply integrate Service Manager with VMM and other parts of other products within the System Center family. We also use a lot of custom IPs. When you work with Orchestrator, you will find very soon that the integration packs delivered by vendors like Microsoft or other vendors will take you this far, but sooner or later you'll find that you will want to do other things, and you will want to integrate with PowerShell and everything. So we are building a lot of custom IPs to suit our needs within the system. And of course, integration with third party, I mentioned it, integration with EMC storage, integration with Cisco UCS servers. It's the only way to do it.
Okay, in the VMM, we use the storage integration with EMC through SMIS. We're also using the Windows Automation and Installation Toolkit to use localization options, setting Swedish keyboard and doing tweaks with a standard server. We use the runners accounts to join domains and do things against different things, to have the right account doing the right things. And we use the Fabric Patch Management to handle the updates. The workflow from need to delivery. On our big customers, we have a total hosting service. So the customer starts an application development project, and the ICT sends architects to this project, and they are part of the design work for the service or application. And when the project has finalized this design, this is sent to the IT planner, and the IT planner then collects every information regarding the servers needed, the networks needed, the storage needed, contracts and agreements, and then collects all those and use the tools to make it go into production.
Yeah, and part of that is being able to deliver a service to the customer. And in this case, we're going to deliver servers. So please, Carmen, come up and become the IT planner. And
I may be a short IT planner,
you're
but
very
I'm
short, but you're very efficient, deeply efficient. We are running this towards our testing environment in Sweden.
My fingers might melt.
I know there's one guy in this room that was a bit nervous like 5 seconds ago. It wasn't me. So, Carmen.
So I'm ordering a service.
Yeah, you're ordering a service. I'll have to point out that this is not connected to the live environment now, so you will not deploy service and create invoices and
Well, I probably
stuff.
wouldn't be able to read it, technically, if it was connected to your real system, because it wouldn't be in English, and we'd have a problem.
Well, this is in English.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the customer ID doesn't matter really, but point in...
My fingers are melting from touching this
Yeah.
Mac.
I understand. We have a team outside that will sanitize Carmen after touching the Apple computer. So, agreement ID. Yeah.
Oh,
Let me help you.
Thanks.
Agreement ID. 3, 4, 5, which is a good one.
Okay.
So
what I'm doing here is I'm basically ordering a service that a customer has asked for, right?
Yeah.
And I'm basically doing the building blocks that will make up that service. So basically, I'm asking for the provisioning of virtual machines at
yes,
this point.
This could be one of the services that you're ordering for the entire project. So description of the server. And parameters that are entered into this system is automatically copied to the asset management system and are used within the implementation as well. So, for instance, the server description could be written to the description field in the Active Directory.
So,
the SLA 24 hours, and I would like backup, monitoring, and auto patch.
And my customer, yes, they want that.
Yeah.
And they want auto patch.
Yeah.
Great.
And I believe you are ready now, so you can send the order.
Okay. Great.
Great, thank you.
So now it's
now
just
you
all
can go
automation.
swimming or
Okay.
something, or
I'm going to go get my big coffee cup.
Go get your big Microsoft teacup and have a ball. Where's my presentation gone? It's there. Good.
It's there. It's magic.
So Carmen becomes the IT planner. Automating the request. What we want to do here, now we have a record in the database that's not connected at all to anything. But of course, as I said, the glue, the orchestrator monitors this database, and when it finds a new record, it creates a service request within Service Manager. And as you can see here,
How does it monitor? How often does it pick it up? How long is the latency?
the monitor is run every 5 minutes. So it's run every 5 minutes. When it finds new records, it creates new service requests. And the monitor is run within Orchestrator. I'll show you later the runbook that does this. And here's also an example of a template. So you can see a few of the tasks, like verify VM parameters. This could be a manual task where some technician goes in and really verifies that this is correct. Or it could be an automated task that goes in, verifies the parameters, and if there's something wrong, it escalates the problem to back to Carmen or to another within the IT. And then it goes on installing the VM, setting baseline for service, and so on and so on. So we're going to make a short dive into Service Manager. I'm not the Service Manager guy, really, but I'll try. Just to show you how easy it is to implement running runbooks from tasks. You create a connection between your runbook server and Service Manager, and what it does, it imports all the runbooks that you create. And being the dev environment, you can see here there are a lot of new runbook. This shouldn't be in a production environment because you want to know what it does. But then, if you want to look at service request, we can see a service request here, search by server name, and we'll pick up the service request. Bit of a cooking show because it sometimes there are some latency to Sweden. It's a long way. It's an 11-hour flight. So here's the service request information, and all the info that we need to deploy a server is within this service request. And you can also check the activities. So in this case, it has started the first task being verified in parameters. And then it goes on. The good thing here is that if there's a fault in any of these, we can use the escalation to pick up the process where it left off. So if we deploy a server and then are supposed to add SQL Server to it, and it crashes just after deploying the server, then we won't have to decommission that server and then install another one. But we can go on with the next task being installing SQL Server. So that was a very short run into Service Manager. So back to the process. What happens is that Service Manager gets a service request, and then in the service request there are tasks connected to runbooks, and the runbook within System Center Orchestrator kicks off. Like this. So, and all of this happens automatically. We could actually have an entire implementation of a server or a service without anyone except Carmen having to touch it. So we're going to go into Orchestrator to see the designer. And this is this soon popping up. This is what you asked for, Carmen. This is the runbook that's monitoring the orders. So every 5 minutes, we can set it to 1 minute. It checks the database for new orders. Gets all the info from the database and pass it on to another runbook that creates a service request. Or if we want orders to be approved before we go to Service Manager, we can send them for approval through email. So after the service request is created, and the task to install the server is initiated. This is the one. So in the initialized data, it retrieves, it gets some parameters, or actually one parameter from Service Manager. And then we go into Service Manager to get all the other parameters. I'll get back to you later why we're not adding all the parameters within the initialized data. Goes on to get all the things, get all the records for installation, and it connects to VMM and gets the template from the service request that we sort of the input we gave, and creates the VM, updates it, and then it goes back to update the service request to say that, okay, this task is finished. And what happens then is that the next automatic task kicks off. And the next this is what I just talked about. It connects to VMM, creates the server from template, and does other things like updating keyboard settings and so on that is managed through VMM. It comes back to Orchestrator, updates the CMDB, and then moves on to the next task. And in this example, we are running towards Config Manager as well. In the server environment, we are using Config Manager mainly for patching and asset inventory. But we are planning to use a function that I forgot the name of.
Decide configuration manager.
Decide configuration manager. Thank you. The DZM to maintain the baselines within on the servers, on the different types of servers.
When you actually provision a server through VMM, then you're installing additional software through Config Manager.
We can.
Yes. And so anything that's additional on top of that, like are you installing the OM agent or the backup agent? Is that what you're doing through Config Manager?
We are. Good point there. But, we are installing the configuration manager automatically, and then Config Manager is installing the other agents needed throughout the system. I have to point out that we could do all this through Orchestrator, but we have decided to take the benefits from other systems that are really good at doing what they do. Like Config Manager is really, really good at deploying software. So why not use it? And that's what we want to do. We want to use the best tool for the things that we want to do. We go back, we close the request, and everything is just fine. It's the customer gets their server, and in the best of worlds, we will never have to touch the server if there isn't a problem. And through Service Manager, then we can update the customer's lease on servers and give them the right kind of invoice with the right amount.
Okay, we have talked a lot about automation and delivering services, but you have to manage the fabric, the underlying infrastructure. And we will take some time to go to the storage side. And we'll do a demo on adding storage to the Hyper-V cluster. This is the VMM console. And with the VMM 2012, we have the storage integration, where you could add SMIS servers from different storage vendors. And we have actually a SMIS server from EMC here that works with our VNX arrays. You can also create pools for different needs. This in the test systems, we haven't made anything. We're good with gold here. And here you can see all the LANs that are available in the system. But what we will do here is to go to the cluster. We have the cluster number 3. It's a 2-node cluster. And by selecting properties and shared volumes, we can see which CSV LANs that are available to place virtual machines. As you can see, we're not really in need of more capacity right now, but why not add more? Just as you can. From this view, you create the actual LAN. We will name it some creative name, like that. We will add 100 gig. And this is good because it's thin provision, so it doesn't take that much space in the array. It's good for doing demos. You can add a lot of different things. And we keep our fingers crossed that everything goes smooth back in Sweden.
So you don't have to do anything on the EMC side. It does everything for you.
Yep.
I can feel the tension.
So, and we actually add a few of them when we can. We set the volume name that will show up in Windows, and we choose the quick format.
Basically, this is capacity that your storage admin has carved out for you that you can use for your virtualization fabrics.
I have a pool of storage that I can carve out LANs from. We click OK, and this drives a job in VMM that do the LAN masking, adds the disk to the cluster, makes it CSV LANs and format them, and they're ready to go. This will take some time. So we might get back to this page.
Yeah, that's the thing is that Pontus likes doing these things. I like to automate them. So the thing of automating these tasks that well, Pontus and the guys that are managing our VMMs, they are very good at it, but we want them to do things that are really complicated. So why not automate it and be able to move this task to another level or handle it fully automated? So the fully automated storage provisioning demo. This is a flow chart. What happens is that operations manager looks at the storage on the cluster and monitors it. And when there's a shortage, it will raise an alarm. So what happens then? Because there are ways to integrate Orchestrator with the operations manager, but and the thing that we use is the same monitoring as we monitor our own database. So we monitor for a specific alert, and when that alert arrives, we go to Service Manager and create a service request. And why do we do that? We do that because we want to log the event and be able to trace when it happens and so on, apart from the alerts from operations. So, Service Manager template kicks off System Center Orchestrator runbook, goes to the VMM, and does the things that Pontus just did manually. Reports back, it's fine, Service Manager request is closed. Operations Manager continuously looks at this task, and when there's a green light again, it's fixed. So we won't have to do this manually. So how do we, if we're moving from to the fabric, how do we keep the VM host compliant?
Yeah, I will switch back to my demo screen to show you that the work has gone through, run right, completed, or halfway. We go to the server, and here we can see that we have all this available storage that we can use. And we can also see this from the fabric point. If we go to the cluster back again, we now have all the CSV LANs ready for taking the VMs as a workload. So in the VMM 2012, we have the compliance part. And this is very good to be able to patch the servers with security patches. And there is an automation functionality that moves the VMs with live migration or save state, if you would like that, to do this for you. So we have this cluster where we have some security updates that are not yet there. We could just go remediate. And we can see here that there's 2 patches that are missing. And we go with live migration. And this triggers an update job that are doing this.
So basically what you're seeing here is us moving through the cluster one at a time.
Yeah.
Using maintenance mode to trigger put the node into pause state, live migrate the VMs off, and roll through this one at a time.
Yeah.
So that your virtualized workload on top really never stops working, and maintenance underneath doesn't impact your environment.
Yeah.
And it's
right.
fully automatable. Have you thought about using Orchestrator to do this in a scheduled manner? Because I know, Krister, you love to automate.
No, never have.
I'm just showing how to do it, and then it takes the work from me. We leave that demo and goes back to the presentation. We use this primarily for security patches, but it's also possible to use other patches that are run through the Visa's infrastructure. So you can add updates for Hyper-V critical updates and other things that it's good for the host to have in place. And it's also good to see a report that you are compliant, that the necessary important updates are in place. You can create different baselines. You can have one baseline for security patches and one baseline for other updates, and you can run compliance on those different baselines. So it's a very efficient tool to keep the host updates, but you can also update the other servers in the VMM infrastructure, such as library servers and so on. Lessons learned. What have we learned during this past year?
What have I learned in school today? This is really, really important. Automating starts by knowing what you do, when you do, and if you're going to move this over there and it fails, what you want to do then. So really automating stuff within IT or within anything starts with pen and paper. So you really have to know what you want to do in each case. So it's you have to have the fault tolerance and have to take care of errors as well. So boring but necessary. Because if you start by opening and start creating a new run book, you're in the wrong corner. You will build yourself into a corner, and that will not end well.
So before you go into that, how did your company go about choosing what processes that you wanted to automate? Did you guys take a look across the enterprise? Did you do a study? How did you start that planning process?
How we started automating things,
right.
What we wanted to choose. Well, we talked a lot about it, and low-hanging fruit. So what do we want to automate first is what where's the real need for automation, and where can we sort of get the most back in hours put down by our staff, or by giving a critical area more attention regarding quality of service, delivery times, and so on. When you create a run book, you start and you can get this really long things going and winding up and down, and that's not good. Because if you want to create a service request, for instance, you don't want to get the create service request stuff that you need to do in 200 run books. You want it in one place. So if there's an error, or if you want to make a change, you will just have to change it in one place, and it will reflect all the others. So build small run books and connect them to each other. The bad thing about this is that it's harder to debug, since you can't run it in the debugging console with the connected run books so far, hoping for the next release. Yeah, reuse common run books over and over again, no duplicate code. That's basically what I said. As I said earlier, choose the best player in each position. If you want to deploy software, why not use Config Manager? If you want to monitor something, use operations. And I'm saying this because it's very tempting to use Orchestrator to do everything, because you have the ability to just create a PowerShell script and implement it into a runbook, but then you're in the scripting jungle of 2012 instead of a lot of VB scripts running in your environment. If you want to use PowerShell, make integration packs out of them to utilize the power and to be making it easier to maintain. Create custom IPs and don't do it all in one. If you want to make a custom IP, an integration pack for like the OCS, the Cisco OCS servers, or the EMC storage, make a separate one for the EMC storage and the things that you want to do. And QA and testing. Test. Before you deliver this, because if there's something wrong, it's going to be wrong every time. That's the only positive thing about Orchestrator. It's going to be an error every time. So test. And test your IPs as well. Service Manager 2012. I said I'm not a service manager guy, but I learned this much, and it's connected to the runbooks. So if you create a runbook and you have the initialized data, so the input, you maybe want to put the server name. You have the server name in the service request, and why not pass it along? Why not pass a number of other parameters along as well? The thing is, when you connect an action in Service Manager with a runbook, you're creating a link. That's quite obvious. But if you make changes to the first item in the runbook, you break this chain. So what you want to do is that you want to take the activity ID, for instance, and never, ever touch the first item in the runbook. then you can go back and use the IPs to get the other parameters from the service request.
Okay, I will go back to the demo showing the result of the patching. As you can see, all of the VMs are moved to the host that was compliant, and the job has been running. The host has got updates installed, and it got rebooted. And then you have a compliance scan that will run in the end of that job. So this way, we get the hosts running on the right security level. And during this work, we still have the VMs up into production. So it's a very easy, efficient way of handling these security updates. During our work with the Virtual Machine Manager, we found a bug that you create logical networks in VMM. I will show you some of this in the console. In the fabric part in the console, you have logical networks, where you can create logical networks that you use when you install. This is easy to use just for server installation, but it's also very efficient if you use service templates, where you could set up front-end VLANs, back-end VLANs, and so on, and make them available for the templates. What we found out is you can actually add more VLANs into a logical network, but when you do installation with multiple VLANs, you just get one, whichever. You can pinpoint the right one. So the workaround for this is to create a logical network for every VLAN that you will use. Then this will work when you do the installation, that the server gets the right VLAN during installation. So if I create a virtual machine, I choose one of our templates. Gets a creative name. Getting the hardware information from the template. We do a server with 2 disks. And then we have the network adapter. And here you could choose one of the VLANs as the logical networks. And I will use our data center LAN in the environment. Here you can also use the static information to set the IP address. That's also a part of the networking functions in VMM.
Will that set the IP address on the server in the operating system as well?
Yeah, it do. So with this information, the server would end up on the right VLAN and get a static IP from the pool. Just put in the information. As you can see, we are joining the domain. No, it was the wrong template. We have 2 templates, one for joining and one for not joining. To join a domain, you use the domain settings, and then you can run the runners accounts to join the domain. And you can choose to deploy to a cloud or to a host. I choose a host. And here is where Chris to get all his information for automation.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's a very good part of the VMM console to be able to get the PowerShell scripts that actually do the work. So this job will run, and the new VM will be up and running. There's a lot of things with the networking. You have to go to the servers. On the hardware side, we have 4 NICs for most of our hosts in the Hyper-V environment. We have one for live migration, one for cluster communication, one for management, and one for the trunking of the VLANs. And here is the information for the trunking network that you add you can choose which logical networks that are available on these hosts. And you set this NIC in trunk mode. So with these settings, these VLANs are available on this host. Actually, you must also do the networking stuff in the Cisco systems, if you have those, to actually deliver the VLANs down to the NIC. But here is how you set it up in VMM. We really like the built-in function with Fabric compliance to handle the updates. And we like both the reporting part, that it's easy to see if the systems are compliant, but also the smoothness of managing the whole cluster in a few clicks. What we also learned during this last year is to have good relations with the hardware vendors, because this is data center management. It's not just the software. There's a lot of different hardware that goes into this to make it happen.
Yeah, and we've sort of driven our storage vendors and the server vendors like Cisco and MMS with the blowtorch, and we've gotten really good response back. So that's third-party integrations, use PowerShell, and the PowerShell interfaces provided by your third-party products that you use to build your own IPs. So, do we have any questions? We've said it all, haven't we? Okay, thank you very much. Please complete the session evaluation, and we'll be here for a couple of minutes to answer any offline questions. Thank you very much.